I've been wanting to meet ya, so tell me your name. Let me get to know ya. I've been wanting to meet ya, don't you want the same?
G'day, my name's Andrew Wishart and I am the middle school deputy principal here at Hope, and I have the privilege of also teaching grade 6 students health, wellbeing, English and maths, and spending time with them in pastoral, and it's truly wonderful being in the class every day, as well as being able to be part of leading other things around the school. And my family and I arrived at Hope in April 2021 at a fairly interesting time in the city's history. We got out of quarantine just before the lockdown and Khmer New Year, and so it was a tricky entry here, but thankfully I got to do it with my family. I have a beautiful wife, Lorinda, who is also the athletic director here and the PE teacher, and she is awesome. We've been married since 2003, so I've got a few years under our belt now. And we have 3 kids, Brielle, who currently is in grade 5, Micaiah, who is in grade 3, and Jarvi, who is in kindergarten here at Hope, and they love it, and we've been really blessed by being here at the school. And the journey to get here was far from straightforward. I'm happy to tell that story another time, but in the process of trying to work out why Hope, why overseas when we could have stayed back in the Adelaide Hills in South Australia, I was challenged to think about a whole bunch of different things, and specifically what worship is. And one of the verses that kept coming up in my thinking and in my learning and in my reading and talking with others was Romans 12, 1-2. I'll read that to you and just share a couple of thoughts around that. It says, "And so, dear brothers and sisters, I plead with you to give your bodies to God because of all He has done for you. Let them be a living and holy sacrifice, the kind He will find acceptable. This is truly the way to worship Him. Don't copy the behaviour and customs of this world, but let God transform you into a new person by changing the way you think. Then you will learn how to know God's will for you, which is good and pleasing and perfect." And so I was challenged in my understanding about what my meagre skills and understanding as an educator was, and how my offering as being an educator is actually my worship of God. And so coming here was part of my worship, answering a call from God. But as I dug in further, I realised that this is actually also about why I'm an educator and what I want to help achieve at the school, with students, with staff. And worship's a funny one, because as humans we all do it. We all worship something. Maybe we worship money or power or social status or our relationships. Maybe just doing stuff is our worship. And you know, all those things will eventually come to an end, and they will disappoint in some way. And so I guess when I'm thinking about worship, it's actually really important to understand what correct worship is, and this verse is super at that. You know, worship of God is the correct way of living. It's the way God has planned for us to live in relationship with Him. It's a good way of focusing our energy, and it will give ultimate fulfillment. It won't disappoint. And so I guess as I work through this verse, I think of a few things. I mean, in verse 1, "And so, dear brothers and sisters, I plead with you to give your bodies to God because of all He has done for you." You know, it's got to start with God. It's got to start with what He has done for us. You know, that amazing sacrifice that it makes no sense, but it is truly incredible the more we think about it. So I guess part of my role here at Hope is I really want students to piece together, you know, all the bits and things that they learn about God and put it together in a really wonderful picture of who God is, and give them a reason to worship Him. Because I guess I hope that once they and we recognise who God is, that's going to be our response. We can't do anything but worship Him. And in verse 2, you know, this is a tough one really, especially for middle schoolers, the guys I get to hang out with. Don't copy the behaviour and customs of this world, but let God transform you into a new person by changing the way you think. You know, our students, our children are continually challenged by the world and what the world says is important. we have a message and something enriching and fulfilling to offer to them. And so I guess I really hope that that is something that comes from their experience of being here at Hope. And if we're not aware and intentional about this, then the world will transform them in ways. It will leave a pattern of thinking on their minds that, once they leave the school, well, then what? So that's kind of like a little snapshot of what I hope I can do here at Hope, what I hope that, as a staff team, we can do for the students and for each other. And so I guess that then leads to the, after Hope, what then? If they have a great idea of who God is, if they have a great sense of God is worth worshipping, if they have that direction set, then what a magnificent future is in store for them. So thanks for these last couple of minutes. I hope you found something useful, something helpful. And yeah, come and chat if you see me around the school. I'm always up to get to know people and share stories and wrestle with this whole life following Christ and what that means for all of us.